and James Grande.
What is going on, everybody? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook live show. It is a Friday. It is Listener League Friday here. James' Playbook just went live for all of you out there as we take a look at tonight's 8-game main slate. How we doing?
Happy Friday, first and foremost. Doing well. Very, very interesting slate. We opened last night's show saying, whoa, again, we have Wizards and Pacers involved in a game, or just one of them, the Pacers. Seemingly every time the Pacers play another fast-paced team, they're like, you know what, 260 total, bam, or 258. Well, it's been bet up to 260. We have the Celtics resting everyone on a back-to-back, which, we should have probably caught yesterday, considering Al Horford hasn't played back-to-backs, and Porzingis popped in the injury report yesterday, and it's like now their backup center Luke Cornett is ruled out. So what does that leave Boston in the front court? It's obviously a massive question going up against one of their other top end Eastern Conference foes in the Magic, who are also potentially getting healthier tonight with maybe the return of Markelle Fultz.
Right.
There's injury news aplenty. The Lakers, Desmond Bane. Some spots, there's clear hopefulness in some spots. I really want Desmond Bane to play because I really don't want to deal with Memphis value. I really want Zion to sit. I know he went through shoot around because I would love to play underpriced Pelicans. I would love for Jaylen Brown to be out to just make that situation even easier to read and just jam JT and the likes of those guys in my lineup. So there's still a lot of news. We got some downgrades. D'Angelo Russell was a downgrade during the day. Jordan Poole is questionable. That could open up some interesting stuff in Washington. So should be a fun slate. 8 games on a Listener League Friday. Let's ride off into the weekend on a high here, John.
I mean, that's what we're really looking to do, right? But just threw the link to today's playbook in the chat. I threw the link to today's Listener League in the chat. And as always, if we do find ourselves getting to at least 25 entries into the Listener League here today, the winner will get a Fantasy Alarm hat. We get nothing for running these leagues on DraftKings. No kickbacks come our way. We just set it up, $5 to join. Top 5 get paid out, and that scales based on the number of you that actually end up joining. We got so close to 25 of you entering the other day. So if we get 25 here tonight, the winner will get a Fantasy Alarm hat. You just got to follow James and I on Twitter and give us a DM if you end up being the lucky winner here today. As you mentioned, the injury is certainly a big to-do. A lot of unknown still on this slate as well. Plenty of players still kind of waiting on that injury news to break. So we'll obviously have that through the next hour. If it comes out, it'll be here. A couple of 7 o'clock games. Indiana, Washington was at 260.5 game total. New Orleans Pelicans versus the Charlotte Hornets. Detroit Pistons, Philadelphia 76ers are your 7 o'clock game time there. Nothing that we're really looking for injury outside of the Zion news in those games. But if we do get the Lakers injury news, which I think is really the big one because they have Anthony Davis, LeBron James, DeAndre Russell, Cam Reddish, and Taurean Prince all questionable tonight, with DeAndre Russell being the midday questionable downgrade there. If any number of those end up sitting out, it's going to be pretty interesting to see the rotations, who becomes more valuable, who does actually sit, then who starts. So they're running it back against the Spurs. I think we have 4 matchups that are running it back from their Wednesday matchup here. We also have quite a few teams on the front leg of their back-to-back. So maybe that's something to pay attention to here as well. So yeah, a lot of storylines coming in here for the Friday slate.
Yeah. So let's just dive into the point guard position because there are a lot of storylines. There is a lot of things we're waiting on.
1 second, gotta get that actual league running. Here we go. Let's pull it up. Here we go. All right, we got the 8 games here on the board. Point guard position. Halliburton's your top price guy again in that 260.5 game total. I don't want to ignore the questions either. I see Gabriel in here saying, hey, want to know what the top value center is going to be, or a top value play, not a Celtic. The Prince is in chat. Crackerjack's in here looking for Dez. I'm looking for Dez too. Maybe he'll pop in at some point here today. Game time decision for the entire starting five for the Lakers, for the Prince. Yep. And Albert saying hello to everybody in here. So hello to you, Albert. Yeah, listen, a lot of things to get to. If you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat. Obviously, we'll be here to help you out. So Halliburton is at 11-3. Trae Young at $9,900 coming off of a 68 fantasy point game in his own right. I guess you and you were on this more than I guess. Not that I was against it. I was just sort of thinking on the way the prop community was handling the Trae Young matchup. But I should have kind of put my blinders on there and just remembered that like Dennis Schroeder is still the point guard for the Toronto Raptors, and we've been going at Dennis Schroeder now for the better part of a decade. It feels like how poor defensively he is. Trae Young had the double-double by like halftime, and he finished with 35 and 17 in this game. The clear top 2 point guard options, they're both in great spots. One just happens to be in the 260 game total, and it's against the Wizards here today. Do you find yourself prioritizing Halliburton as your top overall spend up tonight, or you've been on Trae Young all season long? Are you just double tapping it and going back to the Young well?
I don't love the way you worded that. Tyrese Halliburton's very interesting, especially at just 10%. I would say, like, if everyone basically plays all the questionable tags, right? Let's say just because it's been a lot of people in, then I think all your like Halliburton lineups will end up 100% of the time ending up with Neemias Queta as your center. I'm not saying Neemias Queta is not going to be in. I mean, I just did the update. If you head over to fantasyalarm.com and look at the ownership page, he's 85% roster. So he is ending up in most situations. But you and I were talking about it on the show last night. There's a very solid amount of fair and balanced options in the mid-tier, and especially at the center position. So, Halliburton, you pair with Queta, makes a lot of sense, just given like that's $14,000, basically using 2 7K players. You don't need to use Queta, I think, if you use Trae Young at 99, since you're saving $1,400 right there. Halliburton needs the 30-point, 15 assist games more often than he doesn't to like pay off this salary, because he's not consistent enough rebounding. Like, he's a good rebounder, but we see stretches multiple times this year where it's like 2, 2, 2, then it's like 7, 7, 6, and then it's 2, 1, 2. Like, he has not figured it out consistently enough on the glass for me to like we would get with James Harden when James Harden broke out as a fantasy star, or when Westbrook broke out as a fantasy star. So I'm okay getting to Halliburton. I don't think I'm like necessarily all in here. I do like the savings going to Trae Young in a matchup we just saw. In a matchup, dude, they have so much spacing on this team with like Saddiq Bey starting at the 4 right now, that like the 17 assists are pretty not repeatable, but he's done it a couple times this year, and like double-digit assists should not be shocking. He's averaging 11 assists per game alone, 7 points. So, yeah, I mean, for me, I'm just saving going from Halliburton to Young. I know that's probably a little bit of a hot take considering there's a 260 total upon us, but I just don't love like the value as it currently constitutes on the slate. So I like Trae Young. I like the savings going to Trae Young at 99.
Sure. We do have some news here. PJ Washington officially out. Mark Williams officially out here tonight. So probably not too surprising. Those two guys not playing here. Delano Banton ruled out for Boston. So the rotation continues to get smaller and smaller for the Celtics.
So it means maybe we get JB news sometime soon too, because JB's listed questionable.
Right. Would be pretty cool to find that one there. Working our way down this list at the point guard position. Rozier, obviously the cover of the show. Gotta be a big fan of what he's been doing. You've been one though to tout maybe Herb Jones' defense on, just the best player on the other team. Do you think Rozier faces that here tonight?
I mean, there's definitely a chance that happens, and there's definitely a chance that it won't matter, because we've seen. I mean, just look at the other day. Like, Herb Jones was 5,400. We were like, smash it. It's great play. And he was like a great play. But Herb Jones happened, and he viciously mauled the other team and had 4 fouls in 20 minutes, and it's a 20-point game, and he never came back on the floor. So that's the ebbs and flows of Herb Jones' defense, where he is so dominant sometimes, but so handsy others. It might not matter with the way Rozier was playing. I mean, dude, they were down 20 in that Heat game, and Rozier was out there firing late in the game, making threes, getting steals. It's hard not to look at what Terry Rozier has done without LaMelo Ball and not.
He's just always on the floor, right? Like he plays a bajillion minutes here. Yep. So, any other guards in the mid tier for you that stick out?
Not really. I mean, McCollum obviously 7,600 if Zion's out, but Zion went their shoot around. That's usually a sign that someone's going to play. Usually, not always. Like that happened. Paul George was that shoot around yesterday, and he didn't play for the Clippers. So, obviously not out of the woods there. The Celtics guys are definitely a little more appealing, and obviously become very much more appealing if there's no Brown, because what is the priority after Tatum then? Like Derek White can be a guy who gives you 20. Jrue Holiday has done that a lot throughout his career. So I think both those guys would become very appealing if Jaylen Brown were ruled out. That's probably where I would get my exposure to in the mid tier. Obviously, D'Lo being out would open up some things and other positions. And I actually Schroeder. What am I thinking? Dennis Schroeder 63s.
Right. I mean, Derek Schroeder obviously getting a ton of rostership love here this evening. I put a Derek White in the write up for the playbook here today. His numbers are actually pretty ridiculous. If Jaylen Brown and all that guy, everybody gets ruled out. Now it's only a small sample size. It was like 35 minutes, but it was like 28% usage rating at a higher fantasy point per minute output than Tatum. So again, we know what kind of player Derek White's been at times this season.
Celtics best player.
He's been the Celtics best player, right? Value tier, Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones is getting some interesting love here tonight. Yes. If Jordan Poole gets ruled out, do you find yourself going in that direction here for Washington?
Oh, man. What a terrible feeling it is to get to a chalky Washington team. I think is that the worst feeling we could have on a DFS slate? A chalky Washington? Maybe a chalking Detroit is the only thing that's worse.
Yeah.
I mean, you can. He's not even like 0.93 fantasy points per minute without Jordan Poole this year. Like, that's good, right? 0.93 at 5,600. You probably give him the bump that we've given everyone else because it's Indiana, bottom 3 defense, top team in pace. Like,
he's naturally 40 fantasy point games. The Bucks 43, the Sixers, the 2 toughest teams he's faced, he's gone for 40 against in the last month. So,
and he was that guy when Josh sat every time when Josh sat, even if Jaren Jackson or Desmond Bane were in the lineup last year. So yeah, I mean 5,600 makes a lot of sense getting there. If there is some if Jordan Poole's ruled out.
If Desmond Bane gets ruled out, we go back to Derrick Rose at 5K and just hope he can stay alive long enough to bring out the value.
Come on, bro.
Sorry, the knees. I mean, of course. Any other guards?
Oh, poor Derrick Rose. He doesn't.
I mean, those tendons are just hanging on by a thread. I mean, shooting guard here, Sean wants to know, can the Celtics even field 8? Yeah, they'll field 8. But if they only field 8, I mean, that's great, right? We get 48 minutes of Jason Tatum tonight. They'll just go crazy.
Sit. Yeah, he doesn't sit.
He'll just not sit. Maybe I'll have to readjust the player pool and throw in like Lamar Stevens and like O'Shea Brissett because I don't have them in there yet because I don't really like them. But we'll see. We'll see what happens if JB gets ruled out. How that maybe Pritchard finds his way into some plays here. Shooting guard Booker's 10-4. I'm not really playing any Phoenix outside of Durant tonight against the Knicks. What are your thoughts?
I mean, he went for 60 with everyone back. So, if you want to play him, it's just kind of what it is. Like, he has a insane. This is a guy who has.
For me, it's more so ranking against the other 10K plays. Like, I don't have him ranked higher than like Tatum or Trae Young or Halliburton. Not sure I would have him higher ranked than like LeBron if AD sat or AD if LeBron sat. I don't know. Maybe it's just a poor perception, but the Knicks also one of the slowest paced teams in the NBA. Though we've talked that up a lot, and teams are just scoring at will on New York here. So I don't know. I'm not huge on Booker tonight, but the numbers obviously coming off of two really good games here.
I mean, like he's just an elite basketball player, right? That's what it comes down to. To your point about the Knicks, in the month of December, obviously a small sample, they are 29th in defensive rating.
Yeah,
so
they're just not stopping anybody.
They can't stop anybody.
What's the worst defense, the Knicks or the Chargers?
I would have to go with the Chargers.
Okay.
I mean, maybe it gets better now that Brandon Staley's not calling the plays anymore.
Sure, yeah, it's true. All right, so Booker's there. That's fine. Again, I'm not playing him. I don't have him in my player pool, but I wouldn't, I wouldn't Booker.
He's gonna be low owned. I mean, you know that, right? Like in tournaments, if you're playing tournaments, no one's gonna play him.
Right. DeJounte Murray at 8,200. I'm fine with. Where are you with the Pelicans guys now that Zion likely seems like he's on track to play?
You get there, you get there. If you don't, I think there's probably better plays at similar price points.
Okay.
Right? It's good matchup, but like, meh.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. The mid-tier guys we've talked for Celtics already. Austin Reeves, I wrote up here. I am a fan of him. Again, I feel like somebody's just gonna sit. But even if someone doesn't sit, like his minutes are pretty good. But if they do sit, he just gets a bump in minutes. So I'm liking Reeves tonight at $6,700 here.
Yeah, I mean, I think truthfully, the people that I had confidence in sitting here would be the downgrades. So like D'Angelo Russell would probably be the first guy that I would suspect sit. Dude, Anthony Davis is just not sitting. I mean, maybe he does, maybe he does, but he hasn't, right? Like he's been questionable or probable every slate, and he's played all but one game. We just saw LeBron sit for the first time too. Until they're rolled out, I suspect that they play. The Russell midday downgrade with an illness is obviously not great, but he could still play. If we've seen the Russell, news or Russell rotation, just he gets subbed for Reeves. So
yeah,
do we see Reeves start at point guard tonight if Russell's out? That would be my assumption, because they're still without Gabe Vincent. So
right,
what is their? Are they just gonna use big lineup LeBron as their de facto point guard? Like
also possible
if Russell's not there and they still just like rely on Reeves coming off. They're like, Reeves is coming off the bench, I don't care. I would assume LeBron just plays point guard and they just go massive, right? Like Reddish, but Reddish is questionable. Like Reddish, Christie, and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I would definitely have interest in Reeves, especially if he's starting and D'Angelo Russell's out.
No, that's where I'm at. Feels like a good price and a good ceiling potential here against San Antonio. OG Anunoby's getting some rostership love here tonight. Not surprising. Back-to-back big-time games out of him, 41 and 34 fantasy points. Had a 47 fantasy point game just a short while ago against Miami as well. The other day when we looked at the rostership, it was like everybody was playing Toronto, everybody was playing New Orleans. It's spread out a little bit more now, but a lot of people still getting to OG here tonight.
Yeah, a lot of people still just get into Toronto tonight in general. Again, I mean, and how can you blame anybody? Atlanta's been a terrible defensive team. They're really fast paced, and Toronto is the complete opposite. They play on the slower end of the league. And yeah, I mean, OG, it's really hard to ignore that he has now gained small forward eligibility when he has been just shooting guard pretty much the entire season. So he is probably him and Schroeder are definitely the most inconsistent Raptors in this. Well, actually, I take it back. They're all pretty inconsistent. So like you take that for what it's worth, but it is a fantastic spot. I'm perfectly fine getting to OG. Like how about this, John? Let's do this exercise. Where would you rank OG amongst Raptors starters, like in terms of priority for you? Because he probably has the best. Scotty Barnes has the best eligibility. Siakam probably our favorite price, but Pirtle's also under. Like, how would you rank? Because they're all pop. I mean, Schroeder's 28%, OG's 21%, Siakam's 20%, Pirtle 19%, Scotty Barnes actually 12%. How would you rank OG amongst the starting five?
Yeah, for me, he is probably third. It's not that I don't like Pirtle. Obviously, he's been doing a lot of great things, but I mean, the obvious chalk play tonight happens to be at center. So yeah, I don't think we're going to rank him above OG when you get a 3K likely starter in Neemias Queta tonight. So I'd go Siakam, Barnes, and OG for you there.
Okay. I probably agree. The only thing I might switch would be OG and Schroeder, but I'm not fighting you on that one.
Sure. Yeah, for me, we've seen just the ability to rack up some defensive stats. Yep. With Schroeder, you're really hoping for the double-double there. Yes. OG can get you a lot of different ways and get you there. Koulibaly, I mean, listen, we were playing him anyways. If Jordan Poole gets ruled out, I mean, just the potential for him to be more active and involved in this offense and a great matchup. We know he's going to get the minutes.
Yep.
Right. He's a rare rookie that doesn't really get, and as I say this, I'll knock on wood, too much foul trouble that often. No. So like he gets on the floor, he's efficient, he's shooting threes, he's giving you steals and blocks. The rebounding randomly pops up every now and then. The dude's a good rookie, and I get it that he came in, overshadowed by Wembanyama, being from the same, French team, but Koulibaly certainly holding his own here, and I really like that price. They're just not really touching him all that much here. So do you like that spot? Would you go to Sam Hauser tonight?
No.
Given the rotation?
Nope.
No? Okay.
4,900 just out of my set. Even if he's like there's almost no scenario.
To start if Brown's out.
I know. I don't know.
And he's going to play 35 minutes.
I don't want to. I don't want to. It's not that like it. He's priced out of like comfortability for sure.
I want him $400. I want him the FanDuel price, which I think is like $4,200 or something.
Yeah, like he is priced out of comfortability, and it's not like it's where I understand like all these guys are gonna potentially out, and there's like a lot of like minutes to go around, but like not a good spot.
It's not. Orlando's a tough team.
It's not a good spot.
What about Malachi Branham here? Better spot, more minutes.
Yeah, I mean, like the Spurs are the Spurs. The Spurs are one of the most intriguing teams on the slate tonight. Because I was actually going to ask you about a guy that we kind of passed at this position in Devin Vassell, because he's checking in as one of the most popular plays in the slate.
I was super surprised to see Vassell that popular.
Yeah.
Because, again, he's not blowing you out of the water with recent production. The minutes have been great. The shot attempts have been great. He's just, like you said, he's just missing. If he goes 3 for 7, 3 for 9, 3 for 9, we have a different story a little bit more here. Now, but yeah, I didn't see him being like the third highest rostered player on the slate until you updated the rostership numbers. And I feel, obviously we don't have the injury news. Like, I feel like I'd rather play OG or I'd rather play Austin Reeves here over Devin Vassell tonight.
Well, I mean, that's definitely a good strategy in tournaments, right? Because you're getting.
OG is probably even a better cash game play, I feel like.
Yeah, he probably is a better cash game play. He has better eligibility, $100 more, in a better spot, because Lakers are a good defense. Like, the Lakers are a good defensive team. No matter what no matter what the Mavericks did to them the other day, like that's a good offensive team or a good defensive team. I'm okay getting to Vassell. I'm just not I'm definitely lower than him than the field is. I just found the ownership incredibly interesting. I also do kind of find interesting on Branham that we talked about it after the Houston game. Like, he's very volatile, very, very volatile. But you look at the slate as a whole, outside of Neemias Queta, like, name me one, and this is without knowing any other information. Like, everyone right now is in or out or what it is. There's no like definitive sub 5 value plays where you're like, that guy is great. Like, Gary Trent is the most popular other value play at 4K, who had 12 fantasy points the other day only because he made 4 threes. Like, that was, he just did all he did. He made 4 threes. He had an assist, and he's like barely gotten 5x at this price. So like, it's interesting to see Branham, point guard, shooting guard, back-to-back games where he's starting and they're not playing Zach Collins.
Yeah.
Playing 28 plus minutes, not getting any ownership. I find that a little appealing.
Jordan Poole officially ruled in tonight, so doesn't really impact my Koulibaly interest. I was playing him anyways. Obviously, Jordan Poole being in limits that a little bit, but I guess it takes us more off Tyus Jones potentially here.
Yeah, it does.
As a play now that Poole is in, but we'll wait and see. Jordan Poole not one for the dramatics there. Max Christie could start and be an interesting spot here. Should more than a handful of those Lakers end up being ruled out. Had that run of starting, had some good games, had some not so good games. If he starts tonight, would you rather play a Max Christie or a Gary Trent at 4K?
If we had like those wing players for the Lakers out, like if Reddish, Prince are both ruled out, I'm perfectly fine getting to Christie because I'd be pretty confident that he would get run. I feel pretty good about it. If like Reddish, Prince are in, forget about it. Like those guys are just impossible to figure out, right? Like they're all just
agreed. Working our way on over to the small forward position here.
What about quickly, Gabriel Ashton? 18 minutes, less than 20 minutes in 4 of his last 5 games.
Yeah, my issue with quickly is, he's always a tournament play, Gabriel. So, if he pops off, like we've seen him do at times before, you get 29, 27, 31. I'll say this. This is the cheapest he's been all year.
Yeah.
So, sure. Tournaments can do. I loved it more when he was seeing consistent this. These kind of minutes where, 4 of the last 5, he's played less than 20. I don't love that. I don't really love how that's working out for him. I don't know if it's because like Grimes is now off the bench that quickly is taking a hit here. Like, is that what we're seeing now? Like, what's impacting Emmanuel Quickly right here?
Tom Thibodeau.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. The Knicks being inept, the Knicks not giving him an extension, the Knicks now like not being tied to him in any capacity, the Knicks being what they are, like the Knicks implementing DiVincenzo, like you said, like into the starting lineup where he can play on the ball as much as Brunson can, So there's a lot of factors, and it all points to just the Knicks nixing themselves.
Yeah, it's weird. So again, not my spot, but he certainly has some nice upside if he gets the minutes there. Zion will play.
Yep.
So, as we work our way over to small forward, a lot of these guys have dual positional eligibility, so we can talk about them here, or we can talk about them at power forward, however you want. But Tatum, LeBron, the top 2 guys here. LeBron sat out the other day. You got Tatum here at 10-1, potentially by himself, but against Orlando. Desmond Bane is still questionable. Ingram, as we mentioned, dealing with Zion now being ruled in. Franz Wagner could be going up against a Boston team that is starting like Hauser or Lamar Stevens on the wing. I don't know if that makes him any more or less appealing. Keldon's at 68, who I actually really like the price on him. What are your thoughts on the top half of the small forward position?
Love Tatum in tournaments. Wish he was. Yeah, it was fun while it lasted. Under 10K Jason Tatum. We'll never see that one again. So
he goes for 70 tonight.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Fine getting the Tatum. Obviously, LeBron elite spot. Despite center Wemby blocking 50 shots a game, he still give up 50 points a game or 50,000 points a game. So if you want to get to LeBron in all formats, whatever, like by all means do so. I think Scotty Barnes. And you said this on the show, like you understand the price is better on Siakam, and it obviously is. One's 83, one's 9,000. And one guy's been better for like longer period in their career in Siakam. So like that's baked in obviously to like people's minds. Like, oh, Siakam $7 cheaper and he's better, right? this DFS. Like Scotty Barnes, 3 games removed from a 30-point triple double, and was almost there again against Atlanta the other day.
Yeah.
And he's the lowest owned starter that the Raptors have. I know he's the most expensive, obviously.
The pricing definitely playing a part.
The pricing definitely plays a part, but like if you just dropped in the same numbers he put up the other day, like you're more than happy with a 50 bomb from Scotty Barnes. So I like Scotty Barnes multi-position eligible here. I like all 3 of these guys. I'm praying to somebody that doesn't make plays, like I mentioned. I don't want to deal with any of those Memphis, whatever they are, because dude, it's another situation where there's like
Conchar, Williams, Roddy, like whatever, like whole crew.
Both 2 Williams, Vince
Zaire,
and Zaire. Like they all could play 18 to 30 minutes, and you just don't know which is going to be the person to do it. So just praying Bane plays so we don't have to deal with that disgustingness. The Wagners. Probably Franz. I'm probably, I'm more lean with you. Like can't figure him out.
Who's the Robin to Halliburton Batman tonight against the Wizards? Heald, Matherin, Brown, Neesmith, Turner. Like where's the play here?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Heald's at least getting the minutes, which is nice to see. But I mean, for a 260 game total to hit, someone's got to score, right?
Well, we said okay. So this feels similar to the Milwaukee game the other day.
Except Milwaukee carried the scoring. I don't see the Wizards carrying the scoring.
Milwaukee, one singular person carried the scoring. Giannis scored 95 fantasy points. There was no room for anybody. Like Middleton was good, right? Like Middleton was good. Everyone else was just like watching Giannis do what Giannis did.
Everybody on the Bucks numbers got better because they had to sub them back in 2 minutes ago. So.
Like I'm not saying there won't be somebody. I just don't know. Like, dude, Matherin played 30 the other day, plays 24 the next day. Heald plays 30 every day, shoots the ball fine sometimes. I would say like outside of Halliburton, Miles Turner at least has the most consistent ceiling.
Bruce Brown nearly triple-doubled in that game.
He is my kryptonite. He is my DFS kryptonite. I have never for years gotten Bruce Brown right. Even when he was like
on the Pistons,
$4,500 chalk play on the Pistons, he wouldn't give me what I wanted. I'm like, dude, I can't play this guy. And I'm definitely not getting to him at 6,200. I don't have a good answer for you, John, which is weird because not only is it 260 total, like they're the most efficient offense in the game. Like you don't know who after Halliburton is like on a night to night basis going to. Yeah, Sean, that wouldn't surprise me. But like it also wouldn't surprise me if he had 12 on like 4 of 13 and mad scientist Rick Carlisle was like, all right, Ben, you're gonna play 22 minutes tonight. Like the range of outcomes for every Pacer is.
What's wild to me again here is the same situation we had the other night. Nobody's playing this game.
Oh, nobody's playing this game.
Right? The highest rostered player is Halliburton at 10% at least. He was projected to be like 6% the other day. Under 10% Turner. TJ McConnell's your third highest projected guy. Brown is under 5%. Heald's at 3%. Matherin we have showing at 2%. I mean, this is a 260.5 game against one of the worst teams in the entire NBA, and nobody is playing the Pacers.
I'm updating ownership now too. So we'll see like if that's changed at all. But like
I said this to you on the show the other day, and I put it in the Discord because I literally got carried across the cash line by Giannis going for 96. But like in this matchup, for this game to go over the 260 total, Tyrese Halliburton has to be the guy getting it there, in my opinion, right? Like we said, Giannis would have to be the guy to get it there. If he is the one that this game goes for 250 plus, it's going to be Giannis dragging him across. And sure enough, Giannis scored 63 actual, right? Like if for this game's going to go 260 with the Wizards and the Pacers playing, then Halliburton's got to be the guy going for 50 to 60 tonight, actual points, I think. So I think I'm plugging in Halliburton tonight and at no rostership here. I think that's what I have to do.
It's elite.
It worked the other night.
It's an elite tournament. It's an elite tournament decision because you're getting, this one of the best players in the NBA this year at low ownership, right? Like we say, that's something you and I have talked about a lot on this show. Like getting elite players at low ownership wins you tournaments.
I don't know what to make of this update, but Carlisle says James Johnson is available to play tonight. So
mad scientist is cooking some stuff up. I'm telling you, it's just a nightmare. He's
gonna play over Toppin and
neither of them are gonna.
Yeah.
DMP 48 minutes for James Johnson incoming.
Not even on the slate. So
good for James Johnson.
No, not even on the slate. So that's fine. Anyways, so yeah, listen, it's just, to me, I look at this match and like either you're betting the under, right? That there's one way to look at it. You either bet the under in this game or you play Halliburton, right? Like, isn't that what you have to do? I don't know.
Well, and if you just look at the Pacers too, neck tattoo James Johnson, yeah, MMA fighter. I don't know if you ever saw that, but they asked like who you think would be the best fighter in the NBA. Like they asked other players, and it was unanimously James Johnson because I think he trains MMA.
Yeah,
maybe we have a post MMA career for neck tat James Johnson.
Maybe,
but Indiana, John, is not priced like they used to be either. Like they're too expensive, right? Like I'm not like Halliburton is excluding Halliburton because he's priced appropriately.
Right.
Hield is 6,600. That's not comfortable for like game to game production.
6K Matherin,
dude. 6K Matherin after a floor game. Right after only 2 ceiling games and then a floor game, we'll talk. You asked me Top and Neesmith yesterday, and I didn't. While you were talking, I hadn't looked at the prices yet. They're 50. They're both over 5,000. Yeah. It's not a comfortable price point for Indiana tonight.
What do you make of Brandon Miller being a chalk play tonight?
It makes sense because he's just playing so many gosh dang minutes, and he can play. Like without PJ Washington, without Mark Williams,
right.
You go. They gave Nick Richards 40 minutes tonight, right? That's like, first off, Nick Richards might play 40 minutes, right. But so will every other starter for Charlotte because
they all play. They're as good as Nick Nurse and Thibodeau, and that's
right. And 3 of the top 8 in their rotation are out.
Yeah,
you have LaMelo out, Mark Williams out, PJ Washington out. Yeah. Shooting guard, small forward, playing 40 potential minutes in a pretty good matchup. I don't know what like the ceiling is. Miller hasn't shown like a massive ceiling this year, but if he's going to be on the floor for 40 minutes, there's a good chance we could see a ceiling game here.
Our boy,
yeah,
Tari Eason. He's $5,200 on DraftKings. He's over 6K on FanDuel. Yeah, I wrote it up in the write-up part of the playbook here for Tari Eason. You and I were touting Tari Eason last year during the preseason. We were day one riders on the Tari Eason hype train here. The man is, assuming he doesn't start tonight because he hasn't been starting.
Yeah,
I looked at the popcorn machine. He's basically off the floor for the first 3 quarters these last couple of games when Jabari, Şengün, and Brooks are off the floor. Basically, when those 3 are off the floor, he's a 1.4 fantasy point per minute player. In general, when he's on the floor, he's a 1.19 fantasy point per minute player. So even when those guys are on the floor, he's still a monster. Jaylen Brown in tonight. So, maybe downgrades a little Tatum love there with JB in the lineup this evening for the Celtics. But just in general, the way he's been playing, he played the entire fourth quarter the other day with all the starters for Houston. So that's kind of the way they decide to run it, where first quarter he subs in when Jabari and Şengün and all those guys come off the floor. He's getting full run for 8 minutes by himself, just causing havoc against Memphis's backups, and they kind of play that sub in, sub out game. I don't like saying another 10x games capable, but at 5,200, he is a guy that is capable of giving you 40 plus fantasy points. He's going to give you 30 minutes. These aren't really stretches to say. You just look at what he's done: 22 minutes, 9 and 8, 20 minutes, 6 and 7, 11, 8 and 21 minutes, 7 and 4 and 16. This is the type of player that Tari Eason is. So, I'll ride his DraftKings price until he's like 6K. And even then, I'll probably still play him. I just hope we don't get docked and they just like play him 20 minutes tonight, right? Like, just I don't see why with Jayshawn Tate out, they would limit his playing time at this point, coming off of 25 and 14 and 18 and 14 double-doubles.
I mean, he's just a fantasy point per minute freak when he's on the floor. But I agree. Like, this has like a Naz Reid feeling to it, where like
early Montrezl Harrell.
Yeah.
Right? Like with the Clippers, that guy would come in and just be 1.6 fantasy points per minute for 19 minutes a night, right? Just a ridiculous player.
And I think the best part about it is that we now see that there is a ceiling in terms of minutes. Like, that we see that he is no longer limited and could, in a game that he's smashing, play maybe 30 minutes or approach 30 minutes.
And let's not forget, this isn't like some nobody. This isn't some like second round pick or undrafted G League guy. 17th overall pick last year. His first rounder. He just dealt with some injuries, had to go into a very crowded rotational situation last year, and then like earned his playing time by being an absolute freak in the preseason and summer league. And now again came back from injury. They did a slow build with him, and maybe Ime, I think I said Doc last time. Maybe Ime doesn't. I'm confusing my old Celtics coaches here. Maybe Ime just sees it as like, this kid needs to be on the floor. All right, let's just play Ime Udoka here. So
let's just play Ime Udoka. Your names you're all over the place.
Yeah. Cryer Jack's going to call me out in like 3 seconds. DeAndre Hunter is out tonight for the Hawks here. So
more big lineups that they're going to run.
Gankwu with the power forward happening here this evening.
Yep. Sure.
All right. So long rant over on Tyrese, and he's in my lineup tonight. Anybody else for you here at small forward in the value tier?
Hold on, just hitting save on the updated ownership. So ownership over on fantasylineup.com is now live upon update. Nick Richards, second highest roster player of the slate. He took 3% away from Neemias Queta. Neemias Queta now only 77% roster, John.
Brandon Miller's still now the number 3. Vassell getting a lot of love. Still Hayward getting a lot of love now. So Charlotte getting a boost here with just because PJ Washington and Mark Williams get ruled out.
We know the minutes, right? Just because we know who's. I mean, look at the 5 guys getting double-digit ownership. It's literally the 5 guys that are just going to play tonight. They're all going to play 40 minutes.
Yeah, Miles Turner up to 14%. Halliburton still under 10.
Kristaps Porzingis remains doubtful to play.
It's gonna be great when we all plug in Neemias Queta and all of a sudden Porzingis plays.
He's in, and it's a 7:30 game, so like you missed out on like Nick Richards as your starting center at playing 40 minutes in the first game.
Yeah, Nick Richards. Yep, you'll have to go find money to get a Gankwu in there or something like that. So,
anyone else other than Eason at small forward? I mean, we have to mention the Memphis guys. There's 4 of them here at small forward. If Desmond Bane is ruled out, and by have to mention them, that's all I'm gonna do. Roddy played 32 minutes last game. Started. Vince Williams fouled out in 27 minutes. He started. Zaire Williams played 26 minutes. He went 1 for 8 from the floor. RIP to that early season Zaire Williams form. Contra was out of the rotation, so he's probably the least likely. But 3 guys under 5K. What if all 3 of them start? Like Aldama's not playing minutes again, and all 3 of these guys are. Like I think we'd have to unfortunately have interest in some of them or one of them, and hope to freaking the almighty powers that they just somebody make shots, because other than Jaren Jackson and Desmond Bane this year, nobody from Memphis makes shots. But that's seemingly it for me.
All right. Moving on over to power forward here. Again, guys we've discussed. With Brown in, do you downgrade Tatum here at 10-1?
I think he's appropriately priced. Maybe there's a little value on his price.
Okay.
I think we have him projected 52 fantasy points, 53 fantasy points. It's like 5.25x. Like that's
he should be in for a ceiling rebounding game, I think, tonight with no Zinger and Hal Horford and Cornette. I think he's taller than Neemias Queta is, so KD's $9,800, but we're just working our way down to
I want to just play Webb. I just want to play. Honestly, he's 17%. The field is getting here. So am I.
I think the over 11.5 rebounds from Victor Wembanyama tonight. So I'm hopeful that either Anthony Davis sits or doesn't foul him out before he gets the 12th rebound tonight.
Dude, it's just a different guy at center, right? Like, we're getting a starting center who has 15 blocks in 3 games as a starting center, who's also averaged 17 rebounds a game as a starting center with power forward eligibility. Like, that's unfair. So yeah, I'm gonna play him, and I'm just gonna move on from there. That's my analysis. He's at 1.4 fantasy points per minute this year. That's not what he's at center when he's a starting center, right? I mean, just look at the fantasy points and look at the minutes the last three games. 68, 51, 63 as a team starting center. I think this is the reason I have not found myself getting to like a Halliburton, because I think it's pretty difficult to just start your lineup Halliburton, Wemby with like the value on the slate. Like, yeah, I could start Halliburton, Wemby, Keita, and I'm at 5,300, and that's doable. But like,
I mean, I have a Halliburton, Wemby, Keita FanDuel lineup that is very easy to make over there.
Yeah, FanDuel, yes. DraftKings 5,300 is not a comfortable position to be in tonight.
Sure.
That means like you're playing Memphis, you know, like that's So I'm just saying,
playing
like
Gary Trent, you know, right? Like,
yeah, so much. That's so much better than playing Memphis. Like, it's like he might as well play for Memphis at that point. But I am just setting and forgetting Wemby at 9,100, because if this is the lineup that the Spurs are going to go to, and we're going to get low 30s or like 33 minutes we've seen a couple times lately, dude, there's just, you said it every slate where you say, we're going to get 80 from Victor Wembanyama.
We're going to get it.
And
Agreed.
You're getting it for a guy starting at center with power forward and center eligibility. Like, it just doesn't get better than what this price.
How late in that game did he foul out? Do we know?
He fouled out, yeah, because he had that sequence where he scored, he dunked on Davis, blocked a shot, caught a lob under like 30 seconds to cut it to 3, and then fouled out.
Okay.
So he fouled out under.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, he fouled out
a minute.
10 seconds ago. It was an offensive foul, fouled him out of the game with 10 seconds.
And Pop challenged it because, of course, like you're gonna challenge your best player's 6th foul, and he lost.
Yeah. All right, just wondering if it was like, a couple minutes left, maybe he would have been able to get there. But yeah, listen, I agree. There's going to be a game where he gives you 35, 15. He gave you the 9 blocks and steals. But, I mean, no, yeah, I agree. Wemby's a freak here. Triple J, I mean, 40 and 42 minutes last 2 games. If Desmond Bane's out again, 25 shots going his way. He's been staying out of foul trouble, which is great. He gives you blocks and steals. Wish he would rebound better, but for whatever reason he doesn't. But 59 and 65 fantasy points, it's nothing to ignore.
And no one's playing him, so like you could get a ceiling Jaren Jackson game for the 3rd straight slate with nobody playing him.
Wemby, Queta, Hall, yeah, dude, you can certainly do it, Taco.
I know. I'm not saying. Look, I'm not like.
You got, well, the thing is, you throw Brandon in there, right? There's $4,400. Now you're probably up to like 56. You play Koulibaly, and maybe now you're hanging around 54, 55 still. It's doable.
Don't give out Taco's, dude. You're giving out Taco's listener league lineup on air. Like,
I don't know. I mean, I'm just reading how I would build that lineup. So, Triple J is there. Everything I said about Halliburton to get it over 260, Kuzma almost has to do a same thing, right? Like, yeah, Kuzma's got to go for 30 plus in this game to go for a 260 over, doesn't he?
This is probably the guy I would spend up on in this game. I think that would probably be he'd probably be the guy. If it stays competitive, don't love the minutes lately, but every game has been a blowout. But we've seen on multiple occasions, he has 60 in his bag. He's gone for it twice this year. So yeah, 8,400 in a dream scenario. I'm perfectly fine getting to Kuzma.
I'm just going to tell you right now, I don't know what exactly Taco Corp's lineup is, but I have Halliburton, Branham, Eason, Wemby, Queta, Koulibaly, $5,800 left with a forward and a util to go. So obviously Koulibaly can fit into the forward spot too. So $5,800 with those two guys remaining. That's not a terrible lineup. That's not a terrible line. We throw Reeves in there. All right, I got my lineup. I plugged it. You're all going down. I just gave it out on air, so don't pivot off of me. Let's all right.
At least
So
you know who's listening. If
you're going Kuzma.
Yeah, I like Kuzma.
Okay. Over Siakam.
I would say I like Siakam maybe a little more because we get dual position eligibility. I feel a little better about Siakam, like overall, the consistency, I guess, of Siakam. The minutes.
Remember the times we were getting like double-digit assist gains from Kyle Kuzma?
Yeah, those good. Those was a great 3-game stretch.
I know.
I did benefit from that. I got the 61 fantasy point game from Kuzma. I got this absolute ceiling against Detroit. So I can't talk smack. I did benefit from that, but those times seem like they're in the rearview mirror here, John.
Sure. Let's see. Do you play Zion at 79?
It's a really good price. If you want to play Zion at 79, just like what a Zion game where he has a career high 36 and still just gives you 48 fantasy points. I know. Like, because he's just still so
cheapest he's been all year, but price continues to drop down on him. So maybe we'll get him even cheaper moving forward. Hayward's getting love, which is not surprising. You were liking Jabari. Do you still care for Jabari here?
The minutes have been pretty steady outside of that Denver game. The production has also been pretty steady. He's going to be popular once again. He's the second highest projected power forward play of the slate. And we said that last slate. He was the highest projected power forward play of the slate. He went for 40 again in the same matchup. So if you land on Jabari, I can't say I blame you. It's a good play, pretty consistent minutes. Interesting to see him not lose out on the run and Şengün get just flat out benched in that last game. But maybe that's something to monitor, especially if Tari Eason's going to be as much of a beast as he was. So
sure.
Yeah, I'm okay if you land on Jabari. It's a good play, good matchup, good price.
Working our way down the list here. What are the power forwards on your radar?
Other power forwards on my radar.
Maybe we're getting some O'Shea Brissett ownership love, apparently. Obviously, I think that news probably, Jaylen Brown being in, I don't know if the latest rostership update accounts for that. I don't know why there would be that kind of run for Brissett here.
Well, let me ask you this.
What's the Celtics?
Who is the backup center? Kita's not playing 48 minutes. So who's the backup center? They just go Tatum at the 5? I mean,
they did play Lamar Stevens yesterday.
Right. Either situation, any situation the Celtics are undersized.
Yeah.
As their backup center.
Oh, because we're gonna get some Svi.
You just can't help yourself. If O'Shea Brissett,
nah, not on the team. I said, did they call up Jordan Walsh? Because that would have been interesting. They did not, though.
I don't know what they're gonna do. There's obviously a backup center. O'Shea Brissett is 6'5", so he's gonna play Lamar Stevens in projected starting lineup. I mean,
that has to be before Brown.
Jalen. Well, only one starter is out.
I know. Are they gonna start Stevens over Queta tonight?
That would be hilarious.
There are a lot of people in a tizzy.
That would be hilarious. Queta just DMPs.
Power forward only 3,400. Lamar Stevens starts.
He did start. Remember last year for Cleveland, he was starting at the power forward. He started a handful of games. He is. Let's see. Lamar Stevens is. He is 6'6". Jason Tatum has 3 inches on.
Tatum started the 5 tonight,
against Goga.
I mean, they would have to take Goga off. They would have to take Goga off the floor.
Maybe not. Well, that wouldn't be. Well, if in that situation you could if Lamar Stevens started or something, you could just put Goga on Lamar Stevens.
Sure.
Lamar Stevens is going to go stay in the corner anyway. right? Like he's going to stand in the corner. So I don't think it's the best interest of the Celtics to start Jason Tatum at the 5. Maybe they do, but maybe that's just the way the roster is constructed, where they kind of have to. But
I don't know. I don't think I want Stevens or Brissett, honestly.
Yeah, if one of them is starting because they're min salary, I mean, we've seen this, right? Delano Banton started that one game, had like 19 fantasy points or whatever, and at 3K, and you're like, great, that's great. That lets me get so and so. But imagine going into a slate where Boston is like the only people legitimately missing from their rotation is Porzingis, Horford, half of Luke Cornett because he only plays half the time, and you play 2 3K Celtics who are 5th and 6th options on the team.
They quite literally don't need to play them, right? So it's like
I'd rather take 1-0 in my lineup than 2.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And I'd rather take a 78% 0 than a 0 than a 10% 0.
Let's go to center here. Again, if you want to spend out for Embiid, we know what he can do in 3 quarters. We definitely know what he can do in 4 quarters if Detroit somehow managed to hang around. You got AD, you got Wemby all in the same range as well. We did like the mid-tier, Capella, Pirtle, Turner, all 3 of those guys we did talk about and liked last night before all the Celtics news came and went here. Nick Richards getting a lot of love at $5,400 with the rostership. Hartenstein and Okonkwo, 51 and 5K. Those guys are in the player pool on the playbook as well. It's just that currently 70+% of the field is playing Neemias Queta on the assumption that he is playing tonight. So,
I mean, the 2 most popular centers of the 2 most popular plays of the slate are centers, Nick Richards and Neemias Queta. Those are the 2 most likely rostered plays. Markelle Fultz ruled out, so we will not get the return of Markelle Fultz tonight. Do we? I mean, you're playing Queta, right? Like that's.
Yeah, because I feel like this: if 80% of the field is playing Neemias Queta, even if he gets a 0, I can still cash. So like.
Which he won't. I mean, he's going to play.
He has to play, right? Has to see minutes.
Well, this happened with Mike Muscala, and Mike Muscala straight up DMP'd. Remember that glorious game? They started Kuzma at the 5, and they straight DMP'd Mike Muscala. Yeah. So I'm taking back my he has to play because it's also we know who the head coach is, and Mazzulla is not shy about playing guys like just ridiculous amounts of minutes. Like Peyton Pritchard might end up playing 27 minutes tonight, or Sam Hauser might play 30 minutes because
that's what I'm saying. They could very well play Tatum. We've seen a lineup with Tatum at the 5 this year. It's not wouldn't be the first time they've had that rotation out there.
Well, then you've sold me on not necessary. Look, I'm not saying
I'm playing him because I want to get to the guys that are in my lineup, and I already said, like, if he's in, great. If he isn't in the starting lineup, it doesn't, like you said, guarantee he doesn't play. Maybe people then pivot off of him, afraid that he doesn't play, then that helps my rostership a little bit. Or if he takes a 0, I still think enough people will be on him that I won't be unable to cash just because of the people I can fit in my lineup with the 3K player there. This is the FanDuel drop a score, only they don't drop the score, you know?
Yeah, this is the fan. You don't have that extra roster spot and the affordability to look, I'm not sitting here saying that it's a bad play because it's not. I'm also just saying, like,
I don't think this is a good chalk play. I just think that this is a necessary chalk play.
Like, you confirming that Tatum has played at the 5 and we knowing who Joe Mazzulla has been for 2 years now, where he just plays guys like too many minutes to where like he's gonna break down Kristaps Porzingis by the end of the year, and like he's going to break down like somebody else on this team because they're playing too many minutes. That is like
me the first that there's gonna be a rotation tonight where it is Tatum, Hauser, Brown, Holiday, White, Pritchard, some form of that rotation tonight, where Tatum is playing up against Mo Wagner or John Isaac, a stretch 4, hybrid 5, and they run that out there.
Let's play this game. Project Neemias Queta's minutes tonight.
18.
If you tell me that he's playing 18 minutes, like if there was a crystal ball telling me he's playing 18 minutes, I'd play.
I think 18 is a good baseline.
Okay. Undoubtedly, I'd play him if he's playing 18 minutes.
That's assuming he's in the starting lineup.
If he doesn't start, what do you think his minutes are?
It's like almost not projected. 0 to 30, right? Like, but I think if he does start, we get at least 18 minutes out of him here.
Okay. I don't know.
Just the mere fact that the Magic are starting Goga makes me think they have to start Queta.
I mean,
they're not gonna start a game with Lamar Stevens or Tatum at the 5 against Goga here,
dude. I know the Wizards are a different team, but we literally saw it this year with Wizards doing that.
Well, Muscala is not even really a center.
But he's 6'10". Like, Lamar Stevens is 6'4" or 6'6". Brissett is like 6'5". I mean, it's just...
Yeah, Queta's at least a 7-footer. So, like...
I mean, Tatum is 6'9", right? So, I don't think...
He's probably taller.
What is Goga? Goga's only 6'10" or so. I mean, he's a big dude, but it's not like Goga is Goga's 6'10".
Yeah. He's probably like 260.
Goga's he's 250, Yeah. I mean, JT
they list JT at 6'8", 210, but I've seen him stand next to guys that say they're taller. So.
It's the Durant thing, right? Where Durant's like, I'm 6'9". It's like, dude, you're 7'2". Like,
you're looking Wemby in the eye. What are you
talking about?
All right, let's build a lineup here. I was waiting to see if we could get some lineups kind of hanging around and just breaking this down, but we got an hour to go to roster lock. Got some updates to the playbook that need to be made. Those of you who haven't yet already joined our listener league, here's the link in the chat. It's $5 to join. If we get 25 of you in the league here tonight, the winner will get a Fantasy Alarm hat that I'm wearing, that James is wearing. Again, we do not get any kickbacks from DraftKings for hosting the league here. We just host the $5 league for all of you to join and play with us on the Fridays, each and every Friday. We came so close to 25 of you joining last week. What do we have, like 21, 22 or something like that? So if we do get the 25, the winner just got to DM myself and Grande on Twitter. Or find us in the Discord, and we will get your info to send you out the nice new Fantasy Alarm hat that we are both displaying right now. So join the Listener League. If you haven't already liked today's stream, do that as well. Subscribe to the channel. We go live every day, 5 o'clock Eastern time, breaking down all the news and happenings for your DFS main slate. Already building the lineup here. We're going to go Queta.
And Wemby.
Queta.
The all-length team.
Wemby. At power forward. Searching Wemby doesn't actually work.
Let's just get the lengthiest team possible.
Little Brandon at shooting guard here.
Okay. You're going to build with Halliburton?
Koulibaly.
You're building with Halliburton. This is the Halliburton build, if I've ever seen it.
No, we don't have to build with Halliburton. Because that would just make the lineup I built for the Listener League.
And then we're gonna have a 29-man dupe in the Listener League.
Sure. Or I can just show you who I'm playing, and you guys can play the Beat Jon Impemba lineup if you guys want. So let's see. I'll just do that. Let's do the Beat Jon Impemba lineup here.
I like that better. Even though you're also building Taco's lineup.
I'm also building Taco's lineup as we go about it here. Tari. And what was my util here? What was my util? Can't find my lineup. What was my
You said Reeves. You had. I heard you say Reeves' name.
Yeah, I moved. I moved off. I forget what it was here though. I think I went to Gonku. I'm pretty sure this is the lineup that I put in. I gotta go check it. Samson, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you tuning in. Dude.
We appreciate you, Samson. There's a heart. There's a heart for you,
Seriously,
Samson.
if you haven't already liked
Shout
us
out to
up,
you.
do it, man. We're here every day. We do a pre-show, so you guys kick off every morning with James and I giving you our first look at the slate, and we come back live. If you feel so inclined and you want to become a member of the Fantasy Alarm team as well, you can check that out here. Get 50% off the first month with promo code Let's Go. You can scan the QR code here on the screen and become a member of the family. Again, first month, all premium content, not just NBA, NHL, NFL, MLB right around the corner, MMA, big pay-per-view tomorrow, NASCAR, you name it, we cover it. PGA season starting up. So you get 50% off the first month with promo code Let's Go. So if you want to sign up, check us out. You can get that access to all of our content and our premium Discord today there as well. All right, so this is the lineup I threw into our listener league here. So go beat me. This is what I got going on here tonight. So good luck to all of you. Taco saying we got one or two people different. Well, that's fine. Good luck to you then. But this is what I'm running. This is what I got out there. You can do it. You can make it work with Halliburton and Wemby this evening. So, James, any final thoughts? Any critiques? Anything you don't like about my lineup?
I mean, no. I mean, I think that's it's the all long name team. I like that about your team. Super long
True,
names
like
everywhere.
eight characters and more, basically, outside of Quater and Eason, bringing the average down.
Yeah, and OG being his first name is obviously not long, but like the last name's super long. No, good lineup. And everybody, happy Friday and have a great weekend. We're 10 days away from Christmas, John. So happy holidays to all that are already celebrating.
Big Christmas Day slate coming up. We'll have a playbook for Christmas. Don't you worry about that. So
and a preview. We'll have the preview show too.
And a preview show as well there. All right, guys. Again, get us in the Discord if you haven't already. Find us on Twitter and give us a follow at JImpemba777 for me, at the real_Grande. I think I messed up. At the real_Grande. Our Twitters are in the description of today's show as well. So give us a follow over to there. And James and I will be in the Discord till 7. We'll catch you all later. Good luck, everybody.